California Chrome out wide and loomed up. Mashorwish in the centre. Mubdahij on the rail. They get away from Special Fighter, but California Chrome has gone into overdrive. He's 2 lengths in front. He's clear of Mubdahij battling on. Then Mashorwish, but it's California Chrome in front. It's Alchemy in Dubai. Chrome turns to gold. California Chrome wins the Dubai World Cup from Mubdahij and Opportunity.
Welcome to the Paddock Pass with Brian Mariano on 104.5 The Team.
What a weekend in horse racing last weekend, and we're going to top it this weekend as well. This, of course, is the Paddock Pass. I am your host, Brian Mariano. Thank you for joining me this week. And what can we say? The Dubai World Cup lived up to exactly what we wanted it to be. California Chrome coming back and winning. Dazzling performance by him. I mean, this is by far the best performance of his career. There's no doubt about it. The questions coming in, whether he could step up and win a big race like this. And not only did he win a big race, he absolutely clobbered this field. And this was an all-star field. There was a lot of talk of the Frosteds, the Keen Ice, even Mubdahij, even though it didn't run well previously in Dubai. California Chrome came out and just demolished this field. And with the saddle falling down almost to his behind. That is unbelievable. This horse should have been bucking down the middle of the stretch and just ran away from this field. What an amazing job by Victor Espinoza. Imagine being him for the last year and a half. I'll take a Triple Crown champ and a Breeders' Cup champ and a Dubai World Cup. Boy, I'd like to be his accountant. That's not too bad. Good Lord, how nice it is to be Victor Espinoza. Boy, and it was so impressive to watch California Chrome win like that. And here's Art Sherman on his feelings after the race.
Well, I knew he likes it on the outside, but, you don't know how much horse he's got because he's on a spread, But when he asked him to run, he looked like he rebroke, and he's a great horse. What can you say, I got some tears in my...
Boy, you could just hear the emotion coming out of him, not only for his horse, but for Victor and his whole team. And he explained how emotional this was.
It is. It's, just to have him back and being here with all my friends and all my family, it's a dream of a lifetime for me,
Not only do we want to go off of California Chrome's race this past week, but we talked last week about Polar River, and I went after Jerry Hollendorfer again for Songbird, and then it bites me in the butt this week when Polar River runs second in the UAE Derby. But this horse, she ran a bang-up race. She is trapped inside top of the stretch, barely gets the horse out in the middle of the stretch to run down, and could just not get there, loses by 3/4 of a length. This horse, I hope the connections want to come across the pond and run in the Kentucky Derby, because I think this horse is good enough to be a player, and she's going to be a price. She's going to be one up there at 15, 20 to 1, maybe even more, and I will have her on my tickets if she decides to come over and run. Maybe she surprises us and comes and runs in the Oaks, but that didn't seem to be the way the connections wanted to go, especially after running her in the UAE Derby. So I really feel like they want to come over and run in the Kentucky Derby, and we'll see if that happens in a couple weeks. This past weekend, we had a huge upset in our bracket final. Producer Gaz will join us later in the show, and we will discuss that. Our finals are set, and it is a historic matchup. Make sure you're out there voting, because your votes will count this week. This is going to be a huge matchup, and me and Gaz disagree on the winner. Wait till you hear that later in the show. That is going to be fun. This, of course, is the Paddock Pass. I'm your host, Brian Mariano. And this weekend might even top last weekend with all the money and all the prestige that they were running for across the pond. This week's Florida Derby is going to be so good, and it's only 2 horses. I only see 2 horses possibly winning this race. It's obviously a match race between Mohaymen and Nyquist. You get the East Coast guy and Mohaymen, the West Coaster and Nyquist. But Nyquist has won all over the place. Your 2-year-old champ, ran again in California, ran really well, won the Breeders' Cup at Keeneland. I really like this horse, and I think you're going to get a good price. But remember, the race is being run over Gulfstream Park, and Mohaymen is undefeated there, undefeated in his career. And I would be shocked if this horse doesn't give the best performance of his career in this race. I like Mohaymen in this race, and I would only use him if you're playing pick 3s, pick 4s, and I use these 2 horses in pick 3s, pick 4s. I don't know. If you play exactas, I would probably wheel these 2 horses, put them on top, and see if you can catch some bombs underneath. I'm not really an ice cold exacta player when it comes here. You're going to get 3 to 5 and 8 to 5, so your $2 exacta is going to pay $5. I'm not about that. I'd rather spread out. Hopefully we can catch a price. But these two have to be on top of your tickets because they are absolutely the class of this race. And don't be surprised if Mohey Men wins this race and becomes a huge favorite in the Kentucky Derby. And that is not the only prep race we have going this weekend. The Spiral Stakes at Turfway Park. And this race is really, really competitive. I mean, your favorite's going to be anywhere between 5 to 2 and 7 to 2. And I like a price here, at least on the lines, a price at 8 to 1. And that is the 4, Don't Be So Salty. This horse, the third start off a layoff. I love the jockey-trainer combo here. Gary Contessa has been very good lately. And I think this horse is going to sit a nice trip. I'm not going to be surprised if he sits a little bit off the pace, which there will be pace in this race. So I'm not going to be surprised if this horse sits a little bit behind and makes a huge run down the stretch. I like this horse. I'm going to box 4, 10, 11, and 12 in this race. I have to use Aero Force. I feel like he's one of the classes in this race, and I have to make sure I have him on the ticket. I can't get burned by that horse. But don't be surprised in the Spiral Stakes if you see Don't Be So Salty. And now that we're getting to the time of the year now, people, where the field is starting to form. We're starting to see the horses, your top 15 are already in. And this weekend being the Florida Derby and the Spiral Stakes, next weekend you're going to have the Arkansas Derby, which is where we're going to run into the last part of our Kentucky Derby prep. So the field's starting to form now. Don't be surprised if you start seeing some champions emerge in these big races. This, of course, is the Paddock Pass. I'm your host, Brian Mariano, and of course, I'm excited to announce we have a huge guest joining the show next week. Oaklawn Park track announcer Peter Aiello will join the show next week, and he will tell us who he likes in the Arkansas Derby and give us all the insight we need to know into next week's race. Make sure you tune in next week. Peter Aiello will join the podcast, and I'm excited for that interview. Great young race caller, very good behind the mic, and we're going to see what gets him going when he's calling these big races, which he's had to do not only at Gulfstream Park, but now at Oaklawn Park. And then we want big news this past week in the horse racing world. Calvin Burrell retired, and this took me by surprise a little bit. I wasn't ready for him to really leave the sport, even though he is a little older. I get that. But he's had so many big wins in his career. Maybe he just felt like it's that time to hang him up and move on to other things. I know Gary Stevens did that a few years ago, and we saw him back. So I wouldn't be shocked if we see Calvin back for a little bit, but he might have just felt like this is the time, and I've had enough to go with my career winning the Kentucky Derby on Mind That Bird. The great races, of course, we've seen him on top of Rachel Alexandra winning the Wood at Saratoga. So we give all of our best to Calvin Burrell for all of his many years of great riding and giving us great memories in the sport of horse racing. Calvin, we thank you, and we hope you have the best retirement possible.
1045 The Team, 1045theteam.com. This is the Paddock Pass, of course. I'm your host, Brian Mariano, joined by producer Gaz to go over our bracket. Final is set, guys. We are ready to go. The Final Four is over. Championship week now, and we're going to go over the results from last week, and we're going to pick a winner right now. Last week we had number 1 seed Secretariat over Zenyatta, and a margin of 89% to 11%. Your reaction to that?
What happened? Zenyatta was getting so much support throughout this entire bracket. Both you and I thought it might be semi-close. I thought maybe a little bit of a blowout towards the end of the week when the support would come towards Secretariat, but nowhere close to 90-10. Secretariat never really had an easy win up until the quarterfinals, and then this huge win over Zenyatta. Big Red moves on, but a big decisive victory in this one.
It really shocked me at how decisive that this margin was, because I thought, like you were saying before, Zenyatta was getting a lot of pull, and then we pushed last week about how this was going to be arguably the best female horse of all time against the best male horse of all time, and it really didn't live up to the hype. So I really didn't feel. I looked at it this morning, and I showed you the margins, and the look on your face was about as shocked as it could get. So this is going to set up the number 1 overall seed next week against our other winner, which was the upset. I don't know if we really picked. I liked it, but American Pharoah took down the number 1 seed Man of War 68% to 32%. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, American Pharoah, it seems as if for everything that happened, the Triple Crown win, the run at Saratoga getting beat, horse racing fans really weren't having American Pharoah dominate the bracket. There was always a lot of close calls. Pharoah almost got upset, right, by Affirmed in one of these rounds?
Yes. Yep.
So Pharoah hangs on against Man of War. Not a decisive victory. Maybe more old school horse racing fans toss it to Man of War, but American Pharoah, maybe because of more recent and also because of the accomplishments, We get to see one of the best matchups. A race we wish we could see in real life. Secretariat versus American Pharoah in the final for the greatest horse of all time.
I mean, you could imagine just sitting there and wanting to see this race live. But I remember right after he won the Belmont, they had the little montage they put on YouTube between both their Belmonts, and you can't compare that. I mean, if you saw them next to each other and the way the race was run, you can't really compare that. But now on paper, Triple Crown winners, and American Pharoah arguably had the best season ever. So it depends on which way you want to go here. Do you want to take the best season probably in all of horse racing history so far, or are you going to a horse that had a little bit of a longer career? Where are your thoughts here?
Secretariat, I lean towards him right now.
No.
Like my heart, it's one of these heart versus head things because you get to watch American Pharoah. You got to watch the horse. You remember it because of our age. That was the first Triple Crown winner we got to see, and it was an amazing moment watching him win it in June and cross the finish line. But Secretariat's what movies are made about. Everyone knows about Secretariat, the dominance of the sport. It's funny because Sham, the horse who finished, I think, in second in every other race, could have been one of the great horses of all time if it wasn't the year of Secretariat. I lean towards Secretariat. I watched American Pharoah lose at Saratoga. Maybe fans will give Pharoah the love, but my heart says go with Pharoah. My mind says go Secretariat.
Well, you guys out there in the 518 have to get a hold of us and let us know what you feel about this matchup. This is the matchup I think when I put this bracket together I was hoping to get in the finals, and I think we got. And honestly, let us know what you think. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm at 1045 Mariano. He's at Tom Gaz, Gozz.
Yep, I have 666 followers, so please get me off that number.
Oh, that is the number right there. Take it to the track, guys. You want that? Just play a pick 3, 6, 6, and 6. You're in. Going back on what you were saying to where this is the stuff movies are made of. Be ready in 15 years because this is going to be a movie made about American Pharoah because this is one of the greatest stories of the horse racing year and probably of all time because like you were saying, our age group really only knows about American Pharoah because we weren't there when Secretariat won it. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take American Pharoah in this upset.
Right.
I think it's going to be decisive. I think it's going to be
Whoa.
65, 70% to 30% because there's enough young listeners out there that are going to go after American Pharoah. You guys out there in the 518, back me up on this one. American Pharoah will take down Secretariat and win this bracket and be the greatest horse of all time.
I'm going to be annoying you all week long, asking you how's the voting going, how's the voting going, how's the voting going. I expect the battle right down to the polls close. It might be one of those things where everyone rushes to the ballot late to try to swing the votes. This is going to be a fun week trying to figure out which horse is in front throughout this voting process.
And make sure you check it out. It's going to be on 1045theteam.com. I'm going to keep putting it up on my Twitter at 1045 Mariano, and I'm 1045 the team Twitter. And I hope that this lives up to the hype, guys, because it's really the matchup that we were all waiting for. And I need you guys out there to support me. Get on social media, comment on Facebook, hit us up on Twitter. Help me get American Pharoah over the hump and take down Secretariat. I'm going to go after guys next week on next week's show, too. Be ready for it, people. Help me out. Get American Pharoah across the finish line first. This, of course, is the Paddock Pass. I'm your host, Brian Mariano, joined by Tom Gaz. Guys, it's been a lot of fun. I appreciate you joining the show the last month or so to do this bracket with me.
We're getting closer and closer to Triple Crown season, the Kentucky Derby, the first Saturday in May. The prep races are coming up. I'm excited to listen to the rest of the podcast, what you got coming up, and let's go. We're about a month away from making some money on some Triple Crown races and also starting to figure out those contenders for the Run for the Roses.
Yeah, it should be fun. I might have you on the show, go a little head-to-head, because I know you made a decent amount of money last year in those
Best
Triple
roommate
Crown
I ever
races.
had, American Pharoah. You think I don't know why I'm betting against him? Dude is paying my rent for 2 months.
I don't know if you'll have that much this year, but you never know, man. You're on a hot streak in the Triple Crown races, so you never know. Follow us on here on the Paddock Pass. We'll keep giving you pick 4 tickets, keep giving you winners, and then hopefully as we go through the Triple Crown races, we're going to see horses we'll see this year at Saratoga and in the Whitney and hopefully the Travers and these big 3-year-old races. Guys, I appreciate hanging out. We'll get a hold of you later towards the Triple Crown races. This, of course, is the Paddock Pass. We'll see you next week. Peter Aiello joins us, horse race caller from Oaklawn Park. This is the Paddock Pass, and we'll make sure all your pick 4 tickets are winning ones.